Good morning, good morning. It's Thursday and I am so excited to talk about something that I read and I've read and I've read and I've also helped other people with constantly, and that's called The Power of Surrender. Now you may be thinking, wait, if I'm struggling with something, I don't want to surrender to it. I'm not talking about surrendering to it. I'm talking about the attitude behind it. Surrendering to the fact that okay, I have this problem. It is part of my life right now, so I'm going to deal with it. It's not giving in and saying, okay, well, since I have this problem, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't matter. No, it's surrendering to the fact that you do have a struggle. And that struggle is where life's at. Let me give you an example. My yard is a most beautiful yard. I absolutely love it. But it is a disaster. I mean, we're talking like napalm blew up. You know, except for one part of my yard, which is my sanctuary. I just keep it as pristine as I possibly can. But in my yard, I've got wood chips that I need to get out. I've got the garden, which is it's doing very well, and so I have to harvest. I have to go get some grapes. I have to get the raspberries. I have to, I have to harvest this stuff and have my children harvest it. I need to do some weeding along the fence because I don't have to weed my garden. No way, no. I got that down to a science. So I have to weed along the fence. I have to weed in the flower little places that I have kind of throughout. And then I've got more areas that I've got to do some other things. And then we live on a busy street, so trash is constantly blowing in from the cars, people throwing stuff in. And I just go, ah! And I was really getting frustrated, really getting down. I was getting depressed. I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, just, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And I was like, okay, my yard's a mess. It's a beautiful yard, but it's a mess. Okay. That's one of my struggles. Now, you may be thinking, oh, well, I wish it was that easy for me. It is. Doesn't matter what the struggle is. Even if it's an addiction. Even if it's depression. Even if it's anxiety. I mean, it's okay to accept it and to realize I need help. It's okay to say I can't do this on my own. It's okay to say I really don't like how I'm feeling right now, and that's okay. Because if we surrender to the fact that we are in this, whatever state we are no longer giving it power. Now, I know this may sound counterintuitive, but it's true. If you give something power, like, say for somebody else, if we give them power over our lives, we don't feel we can control our lives and we give them power, then they can influence what we do. Now the difference is here that I'm talking about is if we surrender to something, if we have that concept, that idea that, okay, this is just a part of my life right now, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you don't want to change it. That's fine, you can want to change it, but don't fight it. Don't try to ignore it. Don't try to put it off and say, no, I don't have that problem. No, I don't have that struggle. No. Quit lying to yourself. Admit, I have this struggle. I have this problem. And then move on. You'll be surprised that when you do finally surrender to the fact, that concept, that idea of that struggle, and you quit trying to ignore it and say, no, it doesn't exist, you'll discover how much power you have just taken over. You'll realize if it is an addiction, that it's not the thing that's able to control you any longer. I mean, it's still there. It's still a struggle, but it doesn't have that constant grasp when you surrender to the fact that you have this struggle. Now, this is just not Tony saying this. There have been scientific studies done. There have been therapists throughout the world are using this. Well, good therapists. And these are the steps to finding healing. Accepting where you are at so you can move forward. Accept the fact that life may not be right where you want it to be right now. My yard is not where I want it to be right now. But you know what? It's okay. I will get to it. Right now, my main focus is my children and my family, and then this, honestly, this is one of my biggest passions in Yes Clinics. That's where kind of my energy and focus is at. I have a daughter who's in softball. I have a son who's in soccer. And if I gave my power, if I gave all the control to my yard, I wouldn't be going to these things. I wouldn't be engaging in their lives. And that's what I'm talking about, is surrendering and saying, you know what? It's okay. I'm not going to worry about the yard right now. It's still there, but I'm not going to worry about it. So now, how does that translate if we're struggling with depression, an addiction, or an anxiety? It's to surrender the fact that you have this struggle. If, let's say, it's depression. I have some friends who, they try to deny the fact that they get depressed. They try to ignore it. They try to say, oh, I don't get depressed. And you can see they're depressed. And I'm like, dude, seriously, accept it. Realize that you are depressed. And when you do that, actually, when he did that, he realized, you know what? Maybe I should take some medicine that will help with this, because it is clinical depression. And once he started doing that, his life improved. But he wasn't willing to take that step until he did surrender. He wasn't willing to even go down that path that he's depressed, even though everybody could tell he was depressed, until he surrendered to that fact and said, you're right. This sucks. This is awful. But this is my reality right now. So I'm surrendering to that fact, and I'm going to seek help. And as he went to go find that help, he discovered how much his depression was holding him back. And he didn't think he was depressed, or at least he was telling himself, oh, I'm not depressed. He was trying all these motivational interviewing techniques. All these motivational techniques, saying, no, I'm going to think positive thoughts. I'm going to meditate. Those are all good things. But when you have something that you're giving control to it, you've got to surrender to the fact that it is controlling you and just be able to move on. And that's what I wanted to talk today. I hope this was able to resonate with you, because I've seen so many people who have a struggle. They try to deny it. They try to fight it, instead of just admitting, I've got this struggle. Okay, now I'm going to get help. Tell me about how you surrender to things. You don't need to do this in an open setting. I don't want people saying, ooh, so-and-so's got this struggle. So, in my opinion, in my world, I think, let everybody know you have a struggle, then that way we can all help you out. But I know there's a lot of people who don't believe that. So just send a personal private message through Facebook, YouTube, however you're viewing this. Send a private message and let me know how you're surrendering or what you're struggling with. and that I might be able to give you some concepts or ideas on how you might be able to surrender so that you're no longer giving that thing, whatever that thing may be, power. And you are taking that power. Have a great day. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you later.